We are live. Very good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining in for this week's weekly career class. Today's guest is Mr. Kumar Ravi, who is the Chief Technical Officer at iDreamCareer. Ravi has a very interesting journey into the IT space, and we hope to get a lot of insights that would help students to make decisions on their own. Ravi comes from a background where he has studied IT in college. He did his BTech, and post that he has worked in organizations like Google. He's also been a serial entrepreneur, so he has put in ideas out there on his own as well. And he also has been key in helping iDreamCareer build our own tech team internally. So we thought who best to be able to ask what the current industry looks like, get some insights on how the IT sector currently looks like, and how to be future ready as individuals who want to pursue that path. So thank you very much, Ravi, for taking out your time to do this for us.
Thank you so much, John. It is a pleasure doing this with you.
Thank you so much again. And I would have some questions. We would want to do this in an interview format so that we're able to get to the point much faster. We have a couple of questions prepared for our speaker today, and we request all of you who are listening in, if you have any questions that you feel is something that would help you decide on the IT space, or any questions with regards to technology as a large, I will share it with the speaker, and we hope to be able to answer it to the best of our abilities. Alternatively, we will also request you to view the entire video from the beginning as well. There will be certain times if you log in a little late, maybe some questions have already been answered. We have our team member Samarth, who will be addressing your queries on chat on YouTube. So hi Samarth as well. So without any further ado, I would directly come to the first question for you, Ravi.
Yeah.
Which is we're very interested to know your pathway into this space in a career in technology. How did you come to choose this space, and what in college, in school, to go a little earlier, what in that time made you think that technology and IT is something that you want to do?
Great. So I was actually waiting for this question because it has been a really interesting journey for me, and also a very smooth sailing journey, to be very honest, and to be very lucky on this front. My dad is a computer professor, by the way. So I was actually exposed to computers quite early in my life, and so I'm not actually recommending the white-hat juniors and all that, but I basically was exposed to the IT thing much early in my life, and I'm also lucky to have that part in my life. Getting into the space was not in my mind at that moment in schools, because I feel that in school you never think about this key. You have to become a computer science engineer or something of that sort. Being from a very limited mindset place, I was always wanted to become an engineer, and never knew what an engineer does also. So getting exposed to computers was something which concreted my knowledge, or concreted my abilities in writing codes and all these aspects of computer science. Another thing which also coincided, or maybe was very close to the field I chose, was the subjects which I liked, as you asked. Math, physics was actually something which I liked. And many people feel that these two subjects are not that much to do with computers, because logics ज़्यादा ज़रूरत होती है वहाँ पे. But somehow these things help you build logics as well. Coming to the college part of it, I was pretty much sure that I don't know anything else other than this computer thing, because I have been winning computer Olympiads. I've been working with my dad, making projects for BCA students when I was in class 5. I was so much into computers that it was almost impossible for me to think otherwise. So in college also, I got 16 out of 100 in chemistry and 97 out of 100 in computers. So that was, and I left 3 number ka question in computers. So it was kind of 100 for me. In college also, there were all the subjects like operating system in engineering, operating system, engineering drawing, anything which requires me to work on a computer. I used to get straight A's, and anything which was offline on not on the computers, I was struggling with that subject. So it was as simple as, I don't know how my mind aligned to these subjects, but I never chose the subjects. It was something which I was organically, getting better at. And one thing which I made sure, and I would also like my viewers to make sure that this happens, is competitive programming. There are several websites like CodeChef. There are several websites like HackerRank, Hackathon, where you can actually do competitive programming. These programmings actually help you a lot to concrete your knowledge in coding and programming as such.
And
Although yeah.
Sorry, these hackathons, do they have any age limit? Can schools?
No. Anybody can actually go log in, and they can simply register their account, get a problem statement. Problem statements are as difficult and as easy as it can get. It tests the entire programming paradigm, data structures, algorithm, जो कि बहुत सुनते हैं हम लोग. Basically, it builds you up for this career. Competitive programming is something I will definitely recommend anyone going to this career. Then the courses part, the part where we need to upskill ourselves is also very important. So all these things as milestones in my life, I have been very consciously active on these elements of my journey, so that I can escalate whatever I'm doing in much faster way and reach maybe to a place where I know things much better.
So I think the second question also got answered, which is what academic areas should students focus on? And I think your answer was mathematics, physics is important, even though it doesn't seem like it. Computer science, of course, is important. And doing co-curricular, investing time in hackathons and other competitive programming is very, very helpful. And I'm assuming that is something that is opened up now more than before.
Yeah. So earlier there was a website called CodeChef, and I was actually a good ranker on that. So ranking on these codes in these competitive programming websites also lands you a good better job. So definitely people should do that. On other part of it, I would the thing you mentioned, that physics, maths, and these things, computer science definitely helps you in getting into it. What I really feel is programming as such, the core of computer science programming. There are 2 things involved here. One is computer engineering and one is the computer development part. हम लोग कितना भी कहते हैं हम लोग engineers हैं, we are developers basically. We use softwares developed by people, someone else, and create more softwares out of it. What I meant to say was that the core of it is always the things around computer science. You can always learn programming if you have a logical bend of mind. Programming is only a set of syntax. It's never a problem which is getting solved by programming. The problem which is getting solved is because of your bent of thinking, not because of your programming knowledge. So definitely we should be, as you said, John, we should be really focused on the co-curricular part of it, building all the kinds of skills, not just programming. It won't help you in long term if you just learn programming.
So looking back, do you feel that in college, there could be certain other co-curriculars apart from hackathons that students can be part of that could help them with, let's say, right now, if you're looking at development purely, you need certain technical skills. But let's say if you want to grow in that space and you want to, let's say, start off something on your own, then of course, there are a lot of other soft skills that go with it.
Right.
So what would you feel is how could students make the most of when they're in college, what type of co-curriculars could they be involved in to develop certain skill sets? Like
definitely. So let me give you an anecdote on this. I was in Google, and I thought, I know programming. I am good at it. Why not start a company? And that was the start of my entrepreneur journey, which was so troubled because I just knew programming. So yeah, it is not easy when you to do anything with just. So there was a saying of jack of all trades, master of none types. I would actually rephrase it in a bit. Jack of all trades and master of one actually works in current times. And in college there are many other elements right now missing. So even the co-curriculum, the curriculum part of the college is not college. I won't generalize it, but generally what I see is it is not up to the mark of the industry, and the companies which are actually bridging this gap of the curriculum gap of the college versus the what is happening in the industries are actually succeeding in terms of knowledge and creating better engineers. Uh, the college part where you asked that what other co-curricular or what other soft skills or what other things we should be actually working on for any aspect of life. So there are several other peripheral jobs in IT, like marketing, like designing, like creation of product. There are also servers. We require engineers for servers as well, setting up servers. Large volumes of visitor comes in. We actually require a lot of effort and a lot of skills to actually manage that. So all these things, this is a diversified field, but eventually they all require the problem solving bent. So other than hackathons, other than programming competitions or competitive programming, we should always be really good in aptitude, because if not, we are not going to solve problems. And eventually, all jobs, not just IT, is about solving problems. So yeah, that is what I think.
Great. So I think that also answers the larger roles that one can play in the IT-based setup.
Yeah.
So I will move to my next question, which is, in your opinion, of course, right now we have a lot of good institutions that teach these subjects.
Mhm.
However, if a student has to evaluate whether the curriculum is updated as per what the industry needs,
Mhm.
how would you suggest that a student evaluates those bits?
All right.
And are the courses today that are some of our best institutions, are they keeping up with the industry needs at all?
Yeah. See, I have seen companies like Upgrade. Not saying that they're doing a good job. I've seen companies who are actually getting to the modern uh, uh, curriculum in a much better way. If you ask me how the student should evaluate the overall curriculum versus what is happening in the industry, it's actually difficult. It's actually difficult. Internet is becoming a noise day by day. uh, and it's for students with limited exposure, it's actually difficult to understand what's going in the industry. People in the industry are also struggling with this, but there are several people also who knows the what are the paths. So for example, when I look at uh, courses to give to my team, I actually go for the introductory videos they have created. I actually mail them and ask them my own queries, that if these are the set of challenges that we are facing, how your course is going to solve it for me. Uh, uh, so the efforts are required to even validate those courses. But there are certain ways to actually do the preliminary part of it. Uh, See, whatever the market is buzzing with is usually on Twitter and Reddit. uh, I would, I'm not saying to increase your screen time, but I would really recommend you follow right. If you want to get into IT, you should follow the right influencers or maybe right hashtags who are really good in their sphere. For example, I'm following a hashtag of blockchain. I'm also following a hashtag of Ethereum. I'm following a hashtag of JavaScript. I'm following all the hashtags on Twitter, and anything which happens in the industry is there. So now the tricky part is how to cut the sound from the noise, how to extract music from that noise. The tricky part is that. now the real influencer, not the TikTok and the Instagram influencers, the real influencers come into place. If they have they have supported that hashtag, or they have actually tweeted something in favor or not favor of that hashtag, that's my cue to get after it. That's not my cue to accept it. That's my cue to get after it. And after getting that, I read blogs around that, validate the viewpoints about that, talk to my friends, my circle, my network, and then getting after that is done, I actually try it hands-on in terms of downloading it on my computer, or maybe using it on my, maybe connecting it from my computer or something of that sort. So to answer it very very short, this is really tricky. Internet is full of noise, and I really feel that we will also be, as iDreamCareer, basically we'll actually be helping out students on this front as well, to cut the noise. It's really important.
I think that's something that our counselors do work on day in and day out, which is to help them curate information in the right manner.
Yeah.
And of course, like you said, that there is a lot of information out there, but the basic is the intent to research on that information.
Yes.
Be able to talk to people. I heard a couple of students also mentioning this, that some of them have a practice of checking out on LinkedIn what does a fresher's role look like, and then work backwards from there.
Yeah.
Would you suggest that is a good idea, or there are risks to that?
No, there's not much risk to that. Even we have hired people who have actually, where they're not sure about what it was, but they actually looked at it and worked backwards towards it and gained experience in that. There is a recent hire, Ujjwal. He actually worked. He saw a job post. He worked on that skill, and he got good at it, and he was hired. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. So that's bringing us to the next part of it, which is how have the hiring practices, if at all, have they changed since you have perhaps started in your journey? And given that we had personal conversations on this also earlier, so I'll bring it out for the audience also to understand that are we still looking at qualifications? Of course, we know at IDC we have gone beyond it. So I'll just state it, which is how when you look at the hiring practice, how much has it changed, and can you let us know what are the few things that have changed drastically now?
There's a paradigm change in IT. There is a paradigm change. The only religion, IT, which doesn't distinguish between anything of your background. So it's fully skill based, and with companies like Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, and I think Netflix, and many biggies, basically shunning the degree stigma is something which has happened in 5 years or 6 years earlier. More than that, in fact, they were the early adopters of this skill over degree thing. And so in my team also there are people from variety of backgrounds. I would, if I count hardly on fingers, there would be people from the computer science background working in computers. So it's always skills over the degree scenario in IT. What basically distinguishes people who gets into IT are the ones who really gets excited about even a Hello World program on their computer. And it's never too early to start. It's never too late to start in this field as well. I have seen there was an alligator fighter who was 36 or 37 years old. He started coding, and he was hired in Google. There are success stories, and we were told this when I was there. These are success stories which actually motivates anyone, because IT is not that difficult. It looks difficult from outside purview. It's not. When you come inside, you see, ye karte ho tum log. So if you have a group of ecosystem supporting people, and everybody knows their stuff, it's actually easy. And hiring part pe, you really need to understand the problem solving abilities. It's basically attitude, aptitude, and interest part of it, rather than attitude, aptitude, and skills. Skills comes third in this, because IT is actually easy to upskill. There are learning curves in several other languages, frameworks, and all that, but it's relatively easier. The second part I would like to mention on this is uh, the skills which you make in IT changes. Like it changes at the drop of a hat. Uh, uh, Today you're working on a particular language, the next day the world is working on something else. So using the strategies of using Twitter for getting live things, and staying market relevant on Twitter, Reddit, and all those things, you would also need to constantly upskilling on whatever the market is throwing at you. And believe me, mostly they are very similar in nature once your basics are clear. And how will your basics be clear? By doing the competitive programming which you were doing in school. So it's a it's a journey you will have to take. It's a long journey you will have to take.
So there is then hope for non-IT students as well to be able to do something in this space. Because
Definitely.
when we often speak to students, when we talk about careers and the future of careers, there's a lot of careers that involve technology in some sense or the other. And there is a tendency that non-science students feel left out. However, they do eventually, agar 5 saal, 10 saal baad, if you look at or speak to them, you'll know that somehow or the other they have been
Landed up.
or have worked in tech.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time that they figure that out.
Yeah. And it doesn't distinguish between non-science, commerce, or all that thing. I've seen actually a commerce student. I guess one of the person in Zero, the founder, I guess he's a CA. I guess, I'm not sure, but he knew to code also.
Okay.
So initial systems were developed by him. This is what I have heard. I'm not sure on that. So it's always open for anyone. It's open for anyone. No degrees also.
So there's a question that a very young student had asked in one of my sessions much earlier, which was that will the future be where everybody would be expected to learn at least basic coding, given that there's so much of technology involved? So whether or not I'm interested in science, like for example, 40, 50 years ago, not every job would require to use a computer. Today, I have to use it. I'm from a non-tech background, and आप जितना ही बोलो बहुत easy है, आप लोग जो करते हो हमें नहीं लगता है. We don't feel it is easy at all. So for us, it always seems like a very complex and while at the same time a very interesting space to keep in mind. But coming to my question, now you've talked about how the future of this space will look like, how skills are going to be more and more the focus, and one thing that students keep on asking us that once I join an organization, because the common assumption for freshers is that I need to know everything before I join. Right. So within your team as well, what are the various ways you enable continuous learning? How do you create a culture where people feel confident and feel comfortable in learning, going beyond their comfort zone? How do we do this? Because this is for some of our newer students who think that I have to go as 100% individual. And that's where I feel that they are kind of misinformed, because we want to see people who have the right attitude, have the right skills, but can probably grow as well in that role.
Right. That's where the aptitude kicks in.
Right.
Yeah. So the first part of your question, where the freshers, when they join in, they think that you need to know everything. It's not possible at all. I'm in the journey of 13 years. I don't know everything. In fact, I might be at 2 or 3% of my learning in the IT sphere. And you can still solve a problem with your limited knowledge. It's not necessary to be a know-it-all. It's not necessary to be that. When a fresher joins, I would really recommend the student of those areas, just passed out, really explore the kind of job they're looking for in their IT sphere by doing internships rather than joining a place with a skill set. See, if you are lucky enough to go into the FANG companies, or if you are skilled enough to go to the FANG companies, that's one part of it. It's like getting into IITs type thing. And if you really feel that you want to explore the other aspects of this genre, go and do internships. There are lots of internships available in the market. Companies are actually looking for internships in this development, design, marketing, testing, DevOps. There are so many positions where people are actually looking for internships. And there's a very common complaint about this IT thing is people are actually looking for a fresher with 5 years of experience in JavaScript. So it's a meme also running around in the tech joking arenas. But that is not the case. From where this came out is the internship thing. There are people who are doing internship after internship, and then they join as a fresher at some place. So this is one thing you will have to explore. If you are very sure that you wanted to be for example, a front end developer, you want to be a DevOps guy. If you're very sure it's a straight trajectory for you, see the opening upskill, sharpen your skills, have great problem solving attitude, and apply, and you will be there. But if you are really looking for the best suitable option inside a particular organization, do internships. That is something which I would really recommend. The second part of it was the learning part, and the continuous learning part, basically. As I said thodi der pehle, that it is very essential in this field that you are updated with the market, because it actually changes at the drop of a hat. जैसे meme change होते हैं ना market में, वैसे IT में frameworks नए आ जाते हैं, and it gains so much of momentum that the bus will go and you will still be on the stand. So you'll actually have to be on the lookout and keep learning on the new things. And what do we actually mean by learning is you can't just go through a video or a course online, or a skill based Udemy course or a Coursera course, and then say that and write it in your resume. No, you can't do that. Any interviewer will see through you. The best approach is actually doing it hands-on with a real project. And how do you do a real project is through either internships when you're fresher, or through side hustle freelance project in which you may or may not charge money, because you're doing for learning. Consider it as an investment on you.
Are there any websites that you recommend where one could go and freelance?
There are various websites. See, if you want to earn, these websites might not work. But if you want to learn, this might work. Upwork, freelance.com, Fiverr is for design side of it mostly. But Upwork is something which you guys can try and keep on taking projects. Tell the person who is giving you a project, that I'll do it for free, and learn on that. Smaller projects. You can't do a big project for free for sure. So yeah. Another thing is the continuous learning part. Many companies in our team, we do enable people to learn, and we are also doing the learning circles and all those. We are actually planning on that. But there are several companies, like service companies like TCS and Infosys and all. They really have a learning program with them. They really have a certification based learning program. Which a part of their KPIs most of the times. That is saal mein, is quarter mein, you have to learn this. You have to be certified by these things. So these kind of things are already in place by many IT companies. We are also doing it. So yeah, it's because the reason is that it's the win-win for both of them. The company also needs the worker to be upskilled. The people who are working also needs to be upskilled, so that they are valuable to this company or wherever they go. So it's a market thing. The market has to adapt to this.
So one perspective to give in there, there have been times when we come across students who say that internships are places where we don't get to try out the core of the work. We are usually given very unimportant, like for the lack of a better phrase, there are students who said, "Hame sirf coffee banwayenge," and we will not learn anything properly. But I think we certainly can stand testament to that, where at least in IDC, we've had opportunities for students to do internships with us. They have given very important roles and a lot of responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
At our own risk, where things can go wrong if things are not done well. But I think the whole nature of how internships, how interns are looked at, has changed over time. I certainly
So it's not just coffee anymore. It's basically, if you're an intern, you are not going to production. Right. That's the only change. Otherwise, you get to do important jobs, and if you intern in Microsoft, then definitely you might not be getting all aspects of it. You'll be getting just one niche and also it won't go to higher levels. Interning in startups is something which will actually help you.
Great. So we are always up for taking up interns if anyone is interested. So you can go into our website or probably check out on LinkedIn as well. We might have some posts there. So we have certain some questions from the audience as well, and I would request the audience to share more questions if you have more. For now, we have Geeta Behel who asks how to increase exposure if you come from a small town.
All right. I guess these are left for the big companies to take care of, like Geo did it. So the only just on the joking side of it, the only thing which we do when we get exposed to new thing is find how to make fun out of it. So the Geo did the internet penetration part, and TikTok did the dancing part. So that is something which is a side effect of technology. You know, it's always an atomic energy versus an atom bomb. So yeah, exposure to technology can only happen online. You need to get online. You need to have a device in hand to work on it. At times it's costly. At times it's cheaper with government schemes going in. The thing which I would suggest, there are lots of so again, this is a kind of a unfortunate thing for us. The help available online is mostly in English. Reaching to the small towns in regional languages are still a challenge for us, and there are many companies actually trying to convert things into regional languages, but getting up speed for that is a bit of difficulty. But small towns doesn't mean that it's with the kind of hybrid work approach we are having. Big companies like Zoho is an example of a company which is working from a village. You might know that, John, right? It might be near to your home actually, and it's not. And there are many companies which actually says that you can work from anywhere in the world, but either on the beach or in a small village or in a town, or maybe in the remotest of the places where the internet is there. So the only thing stopping you to get exposure to technology is internet. Get a steady internet connection, and you're on it.
So great. So I think we answered that question. Additionally, I think a good idea would also be to reach out to your seniors from your schools, from your colleges. I for one, am sure to everyone that I speak, everybody is more than happy to help their juniors. Whether they were very helpful, whether I was very helpful in college or not, that's a different story. But college se nikalne ke baad, we were always very, very open to helping out juniors. So I think maybe reaching out to your seniors also could help in certain levels of exposure. But like Ravi had mentioned, that please do use the internet and please get in to understand how to expose yourself to different types of information. Internships are a great way. You will always have opportunities for internships, and like Ravi, to summarize what Ravi had said, that you have a lot of startups that could give you a lot of exposure, maybe in different ways that sometimes bigger companies cannot.
Yeah,
because they focus on a very certain type of skill set.
Yes.
So there was one question which is okay. Another question came in, which was, "Are you an entrepreneur?" So I have taken the liberty of answering on your behalf, which is yes. So if you could ask, what is your next question, then we can try answering that. Meanwhile, I think I have been able to cover all the questions, and I had created the questions keeping in mind our class 12, our first, second year college students. Additionally, Ravi, while we are waiting for one or two more questions to come in, we would want to know from you that now that you're not only executing certain tasks, but you're also managing at an overall level where you're dealing with people as well.
Yeah.
Right now, for that people management bit, what can one do additionally? Because those kind of skill sets are not always the focus when one thinks of tech skills, right? So, how would you say that a guy who is completely always in front of a screen, or a girl who's always in front of a screen, to learn these type of soft skills, and what type of skills would you say were important to you when you were, starting your own ventures, beyond the specific tech skills?
Sure. So in this arena also, there are, like in every other arena, there are two kinds of skill. One is hard skill and another soft skills. Uh, the learning of the soft skill for me was actually in a very hard way. So I had been running my own startup, and I was actually working with only 4 or 5 people, and never knew that people skills or soft skills are actually required for such things. As I told you, my biggest misconception was कि programming आती है company खोलते हैं. So it doesn't work like that. So over a period of time, I got to understand a lot about companies, finances, valuation, the work ethics, the culture, how to handle people, how to treat people like people. So these things I got to understand. Then again, after I got to understand that these things are important, I started looking out how to get into it, how to not master it, but at least be at some place where I can say that yeah, I did it in a way where it might be usable for me. Then overall the problem was how to see what is really required on aspects of covering the 360 view of being an entrepreneur. Uh, then again, the easiest answer was reading books. Reading books was something which I have to do. Anybody, I would really recommend that you need to do, because uh, because internet, as I said, is mostly kind of noise. Reading books will actually liberate you from that, because you select your topic, you get the bestseller, or you might have asked your colleagues or your seniors. As John said, the seniors come in really handy. Uh, yeah, so I leveraged my soft skills. I tried to understand the soft skill part through these channels, the books, asking my seniors. I had a mentor, the name Rajiv Tyagi, and a huge shout out to him also. These people actually helped me to get in shape in terms of handling people. And once the largest amount of people I've handled is 70, and had been a very challenging as well as rewarding experience because of the soft skills which I was able to develop. So yeah.
Great. So I think that answered one of the questions that came in from the audience as well. And a final question, that given that today I hear, and we collectively hear a lot of young adults who say that I want to start something on my own. While that is great, that creates a lot of opportunities for others as well. You tend to go beyond depending on the kind of job roles that are already available. But the notion that parents have ki, you want to start something on your own, that's great, but you have to know what are the risks to starting it also. So the question I rather want to ask right now is, the final question I want to ask is that if individuals or young students are thinking of starting up, do you feel that a startup is viable immediately after college is done or during college, or should someone gain experience by working for someone else and then starting something?
So there are several perspectives around this, John. While when I was doing it, I was told that it's too early to start, and it felt like people are waiting for me to fail. So I come from a perspective where I was told, no, you have to take experience, not just a year of experience, kind of a experience in Google, but also an experience where you understood all the nitty-gritties of running a company and all that. But I have also heard from other perspective, and I have also seen people from other perspective, that is the time of taking risks. When you are out of college, and maybe I don't know the overall background of every person, but I think majority of people might have leisure, or might have an option of taking risk. For the people who have these options, and there's nobody to go after on those, there are less number of responsibilities, it's much better to start, because you fail very early. You gain insights very early in your life. You know what to do, what not to do. When you're in your 20s, there are people in 40s not yet figured it out yet. If I was me, which I am, I would start early. So, uh, and it is always said, there are several influences like Variku. He always says that you learn along the way. That's the best kind of learning while doing it. So I would recommend go start.
Okay, great. So I think we've covered all the questions that were there, and yeah. So while there is no one single answer to that question, which is should we start early or should we start late, I think you've got the perspective of someone who has walked that path, and I think that could add, and it would also be nice to hear other perspectives from people as well when you want to start something.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I heard from one of my mentors who said that if you have an idea which is completely novel and which is very new, like if you would have stopped a Zuckerberg from starting early, you would not have a Facebook.
Right.
So if you have something which is extremely new that never been done before, then don't wait, because someone else will think about it before you do, before you execute. And the other alternative is, if you can do something cheaper and faster than your nearest competition, then you have a great business plan. So you might want to think about that as well.
Yeah.
But of course, yes, there are other incentives for some individuals. I've heard students who said that I want to be my own boss. While that's great, it's awesome to be your own boss. But at the same time, it's not extremely bad to work under someone as well. I certainly feel I would not have met all the awesome people I have met in my career if I hadn't worked under them. There are certain parts of that too. So it's not always that you will be treated like a coffee person at an internship. Like you said earlier, you will, if you are able to evaluate, because you also evaluate while you're taking up internships and working for organizations, whether it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
So I think it is something that we collectively, we can, we have different perspectives to it. But I think I would certainly agree with what Ravi has to say on that, which is, if you can start early, fail early, learn early as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for giving 40 plus minutes of your time, Ravi.
Thank you, John.
I think we've exhausted all the questions. But yeah, I think we've been able to cover through a lot. And if anyone has any questions around, what has Ravi done and how has Ravi looked at various perspectives, I would request all of you to go back to the starting part of the video and go through it again. You certainly can. I would request Samarth, if you can share our contact details as well, which is the IDC support team's contact details. If any of you are confused about the choices you're about to make, we have our career advisors to be able to help you out with your course, your college selection, and even figuring out some of you who are already into a course, who love it or maybe don't love it and want to change. We can certainly help you with the confusion, because like Ravi said, we also are adults who today we are more comfortable with confusion than we were before. I am certainly more comfortable being confused, and I have no shame in saying I'm confused even now. I think that has been a very big learning for me as well, given I have been able to work very closely with awesome individuals like Ravi and his team. So thank you very much again, Ravi, for giving us your time. We certainly want you to come back for other sessions as well. So, and thank you to all the audience. Thank you, Samarth, for handling the chat queries. And if you have any queries, please do come to the iDreamCareer.com website. If you are a student in school, in college, confused about careers, we certainly will be able to help you at least with some parts of those confusion, at least think through those confusion. If not, at least be comfortable with the confusion. We certainly can help you do that. And like we also mentioned earlier, we are more than happy to take up interns as well. So we have our postings on LinkedIn. So please do come and check it out. I think Ravi's team also is looking for people. We are also looking for people. If you are people who like to work with startups, who like an awesome environment, we can guarantee that we will at least not have a boring environment for you to work in. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for logging in. See you all soon. Have a nice evening and have a nice weekend. Bye, Ravi.
Thank you. Bye, John. Bye, everyone.